Hey everyone, welcome to Founders 365 with me, Steven Haggerty. Today I'm joined by the co-founder of Salesflare, Mr. I'm going to get this right, Jeroen Corthout.
It's
Close?
pretty good, yeah.
I think I was better in my practice.
Yeah, you were better in your practice, but this was good. It's
It's just
always the
it's just
same.
the
Like
pressure,
people
man.
practice and then they do
Then
it
they just
live and
mess it
it's
up.
like,
That's
yeah,
up. Yeah. Well, welcome to the show, man. I appreciate you're here.
yeah.
And I guess the first question, as always, is just give me an overview of what Salesflare is, what you guys do, and then we can get into the story and more about you yourself.
Yeah, in very short, Salesflare is a sales CRM, so it helps you to stay on top of your leads. It's built for small and medium-sized businesses, so a very practical tool. And what sets it apart from other systems is that it is more automated. Like you have to do less work to keep it up to date, which is one of the main issues also in CRM. That it's very hard to keep a system alive that helps you to follow up leads. And we also make it very easy to use. So when you come into the system, you immediately see like, okay, this is something I can more easily understand than some
Yeah.
others.
Amazing. And if we go back in time, then what was going on in your world? I know that you also founded a sales software company. Sorry. So what was going on in your world that made you go, right, I want to create Salesflare? What was the problems that you were experiencing?
Yeah, it was, I must say, a very gradual sort of frustration building up. Um, about 10 years ago, I started working in a marketing consultancy. They used Salesforce internally. That was my very first like real CRM. I took it very seriously because people like they told me that it would help me organize my sales. I really tried to using it for sales follow up, but it just didn't really work for me. I really tried. Like I put my tasks in there. I put like activities in there. I updated it, but it didn't seem like a system that really helped me follow up. And I
Mm-hmm.
saw that for most of my colleagues, it was the same. Actually, at some point, one of them convinced me not to put all my sales opportunities in there anymore because management was going to expect stuff. Uh, so I stopped doing that
Fool
as
the
well.
system.
Yeah, yeah. It's like many salespeople do. It ends up to be a system just for management
Yeah.
reporting, not really for yourself, and you just don't want to fill it out.
Yeah. It
It's
becomes a
first of
chore.
all, it's a lot of work. It's a chore, and it doesn't help you. And we had a lot of discussions in sales meetings about stuff that was not in Salesforce.
Yeah.
Uh, our CEO even said, "What's not in Salesforce doesn't exist." Uh, Stuff like that. But I didn't do anything with that insight for a few years. Like everybody was quite enthusiastic about Salesforce. We deployed it at customers and all.
Yeah.
So I was like, okay. But then at some point, I was working with my current co-founder on another software company, and we had a lot of good leads to follow up because we went to a conference together, big IBM conference in Vegas, and we had like I think 130 leads, and we wanted to follow those up properly because we wanted to close a maximum amount of deals.
Mm-hmm.
And we tried different systems. We knew Salesforce wasn't going to be the system. We tried other ones because there were some other ones in the market much more built for that. But what we noticed is that every time we really tried to use a system consistently, at some point we would start failing.
Mm-hmm.
And that was not because it wasn't like beautifully designed software or something. It was more because we didn't manage to keep up with the sort of expectations that the system was like giving us, putting on
Yeah.
us, whatever. Um, we were expected to fill these systems out perfectly all the time. Like every new person you meet, you put in there the data that you have about you put in there. You email someone, you put it in there. You call someone, you put it in there. You have a meeting, you put it in there. Everything. And if at some point you slack, and it inevitably always happens, even if you go in there with the best intentions, it just starts failing
It's just like a domino
because
effect.
yeah, the data is not there anymore. You can't really rely on it anymore.
Mm-hmm.
You feel less motivated to fill it out further, and after a while, it becomes a total mess. And you lose the system you've built for yourself to follow up your customers, which then makes that your sales starts going badly. And sometimes it even happens that people stop filling it out because they're doing so well. They feel like I'm so invincible, and then they stop.
Then it comes crashing down.
Yeah. But then we were looking at this and trying to build all kinds of stuff. And at some point we figured that we were always like working in two systems, not just in two tabs, but also the data seemed to be completely separated. Like we were emailing in one system and then going into the CRM to say we emailed. We were booking a meeting in our calendar and then going into the CRM to say we booked something in the calendar. We were calling someone and then going to CRM. We saw an email signature. We copied all the things into the CRM. And we figured that actually now that sales is so digital to a large extent, actually the data is there and it's somehow accessible. All we had to do was pull it all together.
All you had to do, that little thing.
Yeah, we were quite naive. We become less naive as we go.
Yeah.
But we thought it was going to be a project that was going to be very quick.
So did you originally build it mainly for you guys, or was it always intentionally to become Salesflare as a service
intentionally
product?
I mean, we immediately saw that it could be something bigger. It was not just for us. If it was just for us, we built something very, very simple, and it probably wouldn't have been worth it because it was a lot of work.
Yeah.
But we were obviously the first users, and we still are using our own system very actively. But yeah, we started building in towards the end of 2014. That's when we really started building, after having a little prototype, a deck going around, doing some customer interviews and all that. We got into an incubator and accelerator. We got some money and we started developing. And it actually took until, I think, halfway 2015. We had a guy, which was not me, who was actively using it. And our first customer was somewhere, I think, October 2015. So it took us from the moment we said this could be something until the moment we had our first customer was 1.5 years, which we had never expected it would take so long. And then from there, it was like very gradual build up, like 1, 2, 3. And then when we had 11 customers, I remember us having a little party.
Did you have the countdown in the office, or the count up, like 10, 11? Yeah.
No, actually, in the beginning, when we got the first customers, what we did was we went to the IKEA and we bought like these frames. And we were going to frame all the pictures of our customers, so we could look at them when we were developing the product and know like we're building it for them. But we very quickly, we couldn't keep up.
You didn't like being stared at by your customers in the office.
Yeah, some of them sort of looked like, because we printed them in black and white, like a obituary, which was a bit weird. But I think we only done the first 3 or 4, and then things started going, and we were just too busy to print more, and then at some point we were so behind.
Was there a turning point in the business that you can remember where that growth really started to kick in?
Multiple turning points. I wouldn't say there was really one. We first did all the sales manually. We got a few times in the press, which brought us leads. That was good, because from there, we didn't have to find people who were frustrated. They came to us. The next turning point was when we launched online, and we did that at TechCrunch Disrupt in San Francisco. That was towards the end of 2016. Then we closed the guys at Udacity and some other cool companies, and then that was really nice. That gave us a lot of credibility and propelled some stuff forward. And then in 2017, we had a few really amazing moments, like when we launched some product hunts. That was very big. We had so many trials. We announced it widely. It's not just being on product hunt, but it's telling everyone like we're here, building that excitement. Then just 3 months later, we launched on AppSumo. the guys at AppSumo thought they're a CRM. They would never do that again. It was not successful. They changed their minds. It was really like we sold 6,000 deals almost
Wow.
in 3 weeks, onboarded enormous amount of people,
Yeah.
and that was somehow like a turning point because it gave us scale. When you think about word of mouth, reviews, feedback, all of these things just became way bigger.
Yeah.
Like,
And what about sort of internally in the company? When did you have to start building a team, or was it still you and yourself and your co-founder at this point?
oh, well, by then we were 7 or 8, I think,
Okay,
and
cool.
we're still at the same size.
So you already prepped for like the support side of things, which comes with that growth.
Yeah, well, during the AppSumo launch, we were with 4 people rotating on support 24/7. Well, not 7, 24/5. So during that time, we really needed to have more support. But then afterwards, things got more to a normal level, although higher. So we could go back to one person doing support.
Definitely. What do you think has been the biggest challenge for you to on the overall growth of Salesflare over the last couple of years?
The main challenge is that we're up against huge companies. So first of all, the CRM space. Imagine, I think on G2 there's now 635 CRMs listed.
Wow.
So there's
It's a
a
bit
lot of
much,
choice.
really, isn't it? Let's face it.
Yeah,
It's a bit too much.
yeah, and we figured like we're doing something like at least 10 times better. So that should be enough of a beachhead to really break through. We're doing well, but we never broke through. Like, like we're not a major player in the space, and that's mainly because there are bigger players
Yeah.
which suck up most of the traffic of people looking for CRMs. So imagine
Bigger players with more cash.
more cash, more people, but it's
But
mainly about the
do you
cash.
want to be a big player though, or do you? Because some people go, you know what, I don't want to become the Salesforce, the next Salesforce, for example.
That was definitely the idea with which we started, and we still very much want to make an impact with as many companies as possible.
Yeah.
It's not for us about being a billion-dollar company, but it's helping all these companies make create better relationships with their customers by automating that data, making their sales easier, making sure they don't disappoint customers. And the more people we can help, the better. But yeah, do we want to do it at all costs? No, probably not.
Exactly. And I guess that brings me nicely on to my next question in terms of you as a founder. How do you make sure that you yourself are turning up for work in the right mindset, making sure you're fresh, making sure you're ready? Because, from speaking to other software founders, it is such a sort of, I guess, like a suction of energy sometimes running a software company. And I've heard from them that, there's been times where they just literally don't sleep for days and things like that. So how do you make sure you look after yourself?
Well, you said sleep is definitely important. I've started taking it very, very seriously since this year. Also, I read that book, Why We Sleep, I think it's called.
Yeah,
I personally
read that, but I heard it's good.
I did my thesis on analyzing sleep signals when I was a biomedical engineer by background. So I was always interested in it, and I always gave it a lot of importance. But since this year, I'm quite freaky about it. That's really essential. It like if you sleep well, you can have a great day. Like you have all the energy to attack it. It's really amazing.
So let's
if you
talk about
don't
that
sleep
then.
well,
So when you say when you sleep well, what does that mean for you? Does that mean more hours, or does that mean sort of the quality of sleep?
it's the hours and it's the quality. So a few things I try to not do is normally not drinking alcohol is a good idea to sleep well. I just don't drink alcohol in the week. I live in Belgium. We have a lot of good beer, and I can
If
just
you don't
not.
drink, I think if you don't drink beer in Belgium, you're not allowed to live there. I think that's a law.
You can, but it's unusual. And there's not many good um, alcohol-free beers. I still have to find them.
Heineken
Most
Zero, man.
most of the beers I like are actually 9% alcohol, 10% alcohol, or
It's a big jump back down to zero.
yeah, yeah. What I try to do is drink as early as possible in the evening. So you might find me, instead of opening up a beer at 9 or 10 or something, I start at 7 already.
Hmm.
That way I make sure that by the time I go to bed, a lot of the alcohol is gone, because alcohol disrupts your REM sleep.
Yeah.
So you're less processing your emotions and thoughts of the day, which is what you mainly do in REM sleep.
Mm.
And then I try to avoid drinking coffee after 3 in the afternoon, because coffee disrupts your deep sleep. So I am a quite heavy coffee drinker, but only before 3.
Yeah.
And then I try to not drink any water or anything in the last hour before I go to bed, so I don't have to wake up in the night
Yeah.
to go to the toilet. I try
What's
to
been
wind down, all kinds of common sense things, but you just have to have a little bit of discipline.
Yeah, exactly. Discipline's the key for that. What's been the most significant improvement for you since you, like you said, become sort of obsessed with the sleep cycle, as opposed to before when I guess you were probably more relaxed, not as disciplined? What's been the significant improvement in your life and your business from doing that?
Well, everything. I can do so much more in a day. It's really like, I can fill my day and do the one thing after the other.
Hmm.
Stop my day at a certain time, still have a bit of energy to spend with my wife and my dog. Do some other stuff, maybe read a book. I'm not exhausted. I'm much less prone to start eating a lot of cookies, or drink sodas or whatever. Um, I'm less moody. Just in general, it
It's
makes for
better.
a much better way of living.
Yeah, that's really fascinating because I'm pretty bad with my sleep, if I'm honest. But maybe I should become more disciplined with it. For you, then, what's next for Salesflare? What's next for you guys? What's sort of 2021 looking like?
Oh, very exciting. We just went live on a big small business software platform by one of the largest smartphone manufacturers in the world.
Oh,
I
very
cannot say
cool.
a lot about it yet,
Congratulations.
but they're going to resell our software in the US. Um, then, yeah, we're working on all kinds of plans. We just released some new pricing plans. We get larger and larger customers on the software. We don't do enterprises, but like medium-sized
Hmm.
customers. And the next big feature we're going to launch in 2021 is custom dashboards. So you can build any dashboard on top of the data that you like, and using all of the fields. In many CRMs, you're very limited to, like, oh, you want to report on custom fields? That's crazy.
Yeah.
You'll be able to do that. And then from there, it's a bit of yeah, we're thinking like, where are we going to focus most? What's for sure is that we're going to focus on helping people sell better with less work, more automation. And there is a lot of very exciting things going on right now in the technology space. We're currently experimenting a bit with the GPT-3. It's the new OpenAI
Hmm.
thing. Just playing around, seeing what's possible. Because we have already automated all the data. We have that data there. It's just a matter of doing
What
more
you
with
do
it.
with it?
Yeah.
Yeah,
So,
it's really interesting. One question that I've been asking people recently that's been quite a nice question to ask is, what's been the proudest moment of your adventure with Salesflare to date?
oh, there's many. Many of the proudest moments are related. Like big moments is when we release something really big for our customers and they're all happy with it,
Hmm.
functionality wise. And then there's lots of proud moments every time we have a company believing in us, signing up. Those are really nice moments. But that happens quite often, so it starts becoming less like a like a really big moment, you know.
Less significant, I guess, but still
Yeah,
very
yeah. The
important.
feature ones are like every month or every few
Yeah,
months. So
amazing. Well, my final question for you is: how can people find out more about Salesflare? How can people find out more about you? What's the easiest way for them to do that?
if you want to find out more about Salesflare, you can just head to salesflare.com. So it's Flare with Flare. You can see all about the software there, and you can sign up for a trial. It's somewhere between 7 and 30 days. Depending on how well you set up the software, we give you extra days because we know that you'll be more successful when you set it up further. And if you want to get in touch with me, you can always do that on LinkedIn. But send a little personal message mentioning Founders 365. Otherwise, I will probably ignore it because I get a lot of these spam
I know.
requests
Tell
every
me
day.
about it. It's I swear LinkedIn this year has just gone to like spam a lot in terms of network connections. It's
Yeah,
horrible.
so many people misunderstand sales automation. They
Yeah.
think that all of a sudden it's this kind of thing where you treat people like numbers.
Hmm.
Well, you have to think about like how would I treat my friends, and
Yeah.
then try to recreate that at scale rather than just spamming
Exactly. Yeah.
people. It's
It's uh,
horrible.
it's not good, but so many people get it so wrong, and it's about that person. It's weird though because it's almost like people forget the personal side of things.
Yeah.
It's like, come on, man, like
But
wake
it's
up.
easy to forget. That's why I usually recommend that if you automate sales, do it manually first with
Yeah.
people, like one by one. And then as soon as you sort of feel your approach, what works, then try to scale that. Because if you scale it immediately, you'll make a lot of mistakes. The messaging will be off and all those
Yeah.
kind of things, and you
Exactly.
lose empathy. It's better to do it small and manual first, and then go for the automation.
Completely agree. Well, thank you so much for sharing the story about Salesflare. Congratulations on all the success. I think it's so exciting to see, and I'm definitely going to be keeping a close eye on you guys in the near future. So thank you so much.
Thank you. It's
Thanks
fun.
everyone else for listening and watching. This has been Founders 365.